Is the Kelowna condo market set to take a nosedive, or is now the perfect time for buyers to get in? In today's condo market update, I'm breaking down the latest numbers and what they might mean for you if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest here in the Kelowna area. Plus, there's one hidden stat that you need to be aware of in this market. So let's get started with the condo update with the prices. So condo market stats for September 2024 ending for the Kelowna area, otherwise known as the Central Okanagan. So let's start. So there's a lot going on here. So let's just start with the green line here. So this is where we're sitting right now. So September 2024 ended out. The benchmark prices of a condo ended out at $505,000. Now this green line tells us where we are off the very peak of the market. That was in March of 2022, where we peaked out for condos at $556,000, down about 9% since then. Now the interesting part about September 2024, if we compare that to September 2023, that's when we had the wildfire. So keep that in mind when I go over the stats here in a moment. And I'll bring that up again just to kind of show us where we're sitting. Now, 1 year ago, compared to 1 year ago, so we're up in price. No, there's no surprise really because we didn't have a lot of sales between August and September of 2023 because of those wildfires. So we're up in price about 4.6% since then. And if we take this red line back, this tells us where we're sitting sort of historically. So there's our level of support, if you will. So January 2022, virtually the same price there. So if you did happen to buy in this bubble here or this bubble here, and you have to unfortunately sell already, you'll probably lose out on some money there. Not even to account in all the fees that go along with selling, but just the property value itself. And just for fun, I like to throw this blue line in here. This is where we're sitting since September of 2019, just to see where prices peaked out at. And they rose by 59% from 2019 to the very peak in March 2022. So just going back a few more years, 3 years ago, if you did happen to buy then, you're up about 7.5%. Prices back then were at $470,000 for their typical condo. And 5 years ago, it's still way up 5 years ago, so you're up about 44.5%. So that's since September 2019 to September 2024, so that would be that line there. So yeah, 5 years ago, prices were about $350,000 for a typical condo here. Now to dig into the stats a little bit further. So number of sales total in condos we had for September was 82. There's no surprise that it's up 14% again because of those wildfires. The crazy thing is, if you watched my single family home category stats video for September, I'll link it up on the right there, or wherever the right is. I'll link it there, but the single family homes virtually had no change, and we had those wildfires last year. So condos, there should be no surprise that we've increased, and we did for condos. And total inventory, we're sitting at 699 condos on the market in the Central Okanagan, and that's up about 32% since this time last year. No surprise again that that's up. That inventory has skyrocketed all year compared to last year. And again, that benchmark price, we're sitting at just over $500,000 for your typical condo here, and 4.6% increase over this time last year. And days to sell, if you've been following my channel at all in the past little while, I really dig into the days to sell because our board doesn't report what I call the real or actual or cumulative days to sell. So you'll see a report from our board, the Association of Interior Realtors, 57 days to sell a condo right now, but that's the reported days to sell, and I'll show you what I mean here in a minute. So what I do is I'll go through 82 sales. The 82 sales that we have, I'll go through every single one and see if any were canceled and relisted or expired and relisted, that sort of thing. And this is what I mean here. So if a listing is, let's say for example, this was a real listing. I just blocked off all the information. So this condo listing went live mid-June, sat on the market till about mid-September, and then sat on the market for 89 days. Then they relisted it the same day. You can see that, September 12th. They relisted it, they lowered the price a little bit, found a buyer and negotiated the price to $600,000, and that took 11 days to sell there. Now, when they did relist it, they probably had an offer right away because of the subject removal time. So subject removals, the condo would be considered sold after the subject removal date. So they probably had maybe 7 or 10 days for subject removal. And it's essentially they probably found the buyer right away. But my main point here is the days on market. So our board would consider 11 days on market is how long it took this condo to sell, not 100 days to sell. So that is what I mean by the real days to sell. And the real days to sell a condo right now in the Kelowna area is 104. Now, there's a little asterisk to that as well, and I nerded out on this condo update and I went a little bit further. So we have the real days to sell, as I pointed out there, at 104. That's every single condo that's sold in the central Okanagan. The real days to sell is actually 93 because a bunch of condos, they're slowly starting to sell leading into winter. Big White is a ski resort here in Kelowna, and there was 5 or 6 sales, I believe, at Big White, and those ones sit on the market for a long time. The average days to sell at Big White is 225 right now on those sales. So the actual days to sell a condo, excluding Big White, is 93. So we've been sitting around 3 months days to sell right now for condos for quite a while. So don't mind me, I completely nerded out on the stats. And I did go a little bit further here as well and took out the 55 plus condos because those typically take longer to sell as well. But it ended up being virtually the same, around 93 days. So keep that in mind right now if you are thinking about selling. And I actually dug a little bit deeper into the stats in terms of condos that are actually selling right now. So if you have a condo that's under $500,000, you have a higher chance to sell. So in the month of September, 70% of those sales were under $500,000. So 56 of the sales, and then the rest were over $500,000. That was the remaining 30%. Oh, and this should be actually a greater than sign there. So these are the extra stats I dug into this month. I realized we had a bunch of Big White sales, so I thought I should take those out. And we are still sitting around 3 months to sell right now. All right, now that I have completely nerded out and gone over the real days to sell, the list to sale ratio still sitting at 97%. Easy example, if you have a $100 million condo, you and the buyer are negotiating around 3% off the list price. So the sale price would be around $970,000 on average. The original list to sale price, again, I had a bunch of people actually in my last videos ask what the original list to sale price ratio, because we have the real days to sell, and that's around 96% from the original list price to off of the sold price. So you're getting about 1% off there. And last but not least, here we have the months of inventory. So we are sitting in a buyer's market because we do have over 6 months of inventory, meaning that we're at 8.5 months of inventory right now, basically the same as last year. And that just means that if we didn't list any more properties at the end of September, it would take a full 8 months roughly to sell off that inventory. So what does this all mean? This means that if you're a seller in this market, you need to have a great product and a great price. And maybe if you're in the low 500s right now, you might want to consider tucking that under $500,000 to be in that top 70% of sales. And if you're a buyer right now, inventory is higher than ever and there's a lot more choice for you. So if you are ready to buy and take that next step, there's a link down below in the description to book a call with me. And recently I made a list of my top 10 condos here in the Kelowna area. So check that out if you are in the market for a condo in Kelowna.